Just when the British media thought they had Harry cornered, they had set out this whole narrative of him regretting everything that has happened in the last few years. Your boy came out swinging, dropping bombs in Ukraine, sipping tea with The Guardian, and looking moisturized and unbothered next to Meghan in that Disneyland clip. Meanwhile, William, let's just say he's throwing toys out of the pram like a toddler denied his favorite snack. But don't worry, we're going to peel back this mess layer by layer. Welcome to the Isabella Banks channel. It's your girl Weezy here, and as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. If this is your first time here, welcome to the family. Go on and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up and drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you have been lurking, tell me, baby, what are you waiting on? Today is the day. Don't just sip the tea, join the tea party. Now, listen, Prince Harry came back strong. First, he shuts down the UK with his whirlwind engagements. Then, he shocks the world with a surprise trip to Ukraine. Global headlines, baby. It was delicious. And just when the tabloids started whispering, oh, he regrets Spare, he regrets Oprah, Harry sat down with The Guardian and said, nah, I said what I said in the voice of Nini. He made it crystal clear. No regrets about leaving the royal family, no regrets about speaking his truth, no regrets about writing Spare. Period. And you could almost hear the media gagging in unison. When I tell you that the British media is discombobulated right now, believe me. If you don't believe me, listen to this. Christian, maybe you've loved him all along and you think this is where he lives. You'd love to see him back. Do get your calls in on that one right now. The Duke of Sussex was in the UK for 4 days last week when he undertook several engagements with causes very close to his heart. He said, I have always loved the UK and that he'd like to spend more time here and bring his young children over from America. Harry, as I'm sure you know, is with his wife Meghan in California, and his children haven't seen their grandfather the King since 2022. So would you like to see Prince Harry in the UK much more often? Do you think it's exactly what the royal family needs, or do you think it's always a giant distraction? I'm going to start with you, Don, because it's your first time here. What do you think? Well, I got the audio book of Spare. I listened to it. It's very, very interesting. And I'm a massive Prince Harry fan. However, I think if he wants to come back to the UK, I think he's nuttier than a squirrel's poo. Why? Because I don't think what he's done is escaped that establishment. And we've all seen what that's done to him. It's destroyed his mother. It's destroyed his life. It's almost destroyed his relationship with his wife. And I think he was really brave to get out of Dodge, go and make a new life for himself, and have probably a much better, much happier life than what he's going to have being back in the establishment. I love the fact he's trying to make amends with King Charles. I think that's very admirable. I slightly wonder, is there something in the background with the King that maybe Harry's now starting to worry about, the King's health, because there's obviously, there's all the stories about his cancer and things. And if he wants to come back, I would welcome it. I love Harry. I think he's a great, great character. But I think what he's got now is a billion times better than what he's going to get back here. The trouble is, the more engagements the Sussexes do, the harder it is for the media to maintain the Harry is a bad guy narrative, and they start telling the truth. And also, when people are discussing this issue, I guess because people are so passionate about this topic that they skip over a lot of the nuances and complexities involved in this conversation. When people hear Harry coming back to the UK or doing anything with the royal family, they immediately assume that Harry should come back and become a senior working royal again. But Harry has already said he's never going to do that. So that's clearly off the table. And even if the royal family wants it, I doubt that there will be anything that they can do to bring Harry back in that capacity. What Harry has said is that he will be willing to do things here and there, just like he's come to the UK to handle a few engagements. If the royal family did desperately need him to do something, do you, in your heart of hearts, really see Harry turning it down? Especially when doing those things will benefit him and whatever he has to do for the Invictus Games. I think we need to be more practical about this matter and less emotional about it. And there are a lot of nuances to do with Prince Harry being a member of the royal family. It's not something that Harry can walk away from. Absolutely not. It's just not something that he can walk away from. And eventually, someone who is on a journey to heal himself mentally, psychologically, the end of the healing journey, the healing cycle, is to be able to walk into places that used to hurt you and be unaffected by the environment, because the validation you needed from those people, you no longer need it. They're coming to the UK to do his own things is completely separate from saying that he's coming back to the royal family to be a senior working royal. Um anyway, I just thought to clarify that because I had a lot of very passionate people spewing anger because I dared to mention this before now, which kind of made me laugh because it's kind of like, when a couple has a fight and then they go back and they tell their respective family members about the fight, and then the family members get angry on their behalf against the other spouse, right? So if the husband is angry and he goes and he complains about his wife to his family gets angry on his behalf and they hold the grudge longer than the husband would. The same thing happens with the wife. If something happens between the couple and the wife goes and tells her family about the issue, her family holds the grudge longer than the person who complains to them. And so long after the couple have settled their differences, the respective families are still holding the grudge. This is the reason why they say don't talk to your family when you're having problems with your spouse, because your spouse's family will hold on to the grudge longer than you will. And it's the same thing here. What I see is on both sides of the fence, the royal family's fans, the royalists, and the Sussex squad. We need to become more practical about this, because if we're not, then I feel like we're going to get our feelings hurt. Whether we like it or not, Harry is going to come to the UK. And as I said, Harry and Meghan are a close family. I find it hard to believe that Harry will be coming to the UK quite regularly and Meghan will never set foot in the UK. Meghan stepped in with that birthday post for Harry. Sassy, sweet, confident. I loved it. Don't you love that we finally get to see them like this? Free, playful, unbothered. They weren't allowed to serve this kind of energy before, and now they're thriving in it. And I'm no wonder the other royals are looking at them with annoyance like these two. These two. They are definitely not behaving like the other royals, and they get to be able to do that because they've stepped back from their roles. And that's Disney's 70th anniversary clip. Look at Harry and Meghan looking happy, healthy, moisturized, like they just stepped out of a luxury skincare ad. Meanwhile, the UK press is clutching their pearls, wondering why William looks pressed and dusty. Speaking of William, child, the guy is raging. Headlines about how if you mention Harry, William will throw you out of the room. Charlotte Griffins even wrote that William has been driven to rage by Harry's brazen return. Rage! Rage! Not just hidden, publicly, like it's acceptable behavior. That's not leadership. That's daycare behavior. And that's supposed to be the UK's future king. Huh. But you know what? My favorite part is that Harry is ignoring him completely. Not a peep, not a glance, not a pity wave. That, my friends, is power. And here's where it gets messy. Because while Harry is out here winning hearts, the media is tripping over itself. Amanda Platel, yes, that's Amanda, wrote a whole headline calling William and Kate the Prince and Princess of Boring. I screamed when I saw it. I was like, oop, the contract is dead. But then in the very next article, she's groveling, choking on her words, saying she's disgusted with herself for insulting Kate. And if we look at this objectively, and you know I have to bring you the tea, right? You guys will see how journalists in the UK are forced to follow company lines just to keep their jobs. I mean, before now, I think a lot of people all over the world cannot relate because we all have this illusion that everybody is free, that the freedom of speech is guaranteed. But given what is happening in America now, that just tells you how not free people are all over the world. It's not just even the UK. But this is the reason why Harry's fight with the press is so important because he's exposing the system, hoping to change it a little bit, if not all the way. He's showing us that even the so called critics aren't free. So, as much as we want to hate the soldiers like the Camilla Tominis, the Piers Morgans, the other toy soldiers, Nana Akua, all the other ones, the bobbing heads, Angela Levin, all of them. But can they say any different? I'm not asking us to be sorry for them, but I'm just saying if they're not allowed to say anything except it is negative, then the situation should be looked at a bit differently from what it is. What do you guys think? And you know what's even more powerful? The Sussexes have stayed quiet today out of respect for the Duchess of Kent's funeral, dignity, class, letting the work speak louder than the noise. But make no mistake, Harry and Meghan keeping their foot on the British media's necks. It's working. It also tells you what they need to do more of. Reminder, all of this is in aid of the Invictus Games. It's not about reconciliation with his family. And even if it did, they can decide for themselves the kind of relationship that they want to have with the royal family. So, anyway, what do you all think? Do you believe British journalists are secretly punished when they tell the truth about the royals? I would say before we answer that question, we should reference the case of Gary Lineker, who was speaking out about Gaza on Twitter and he got fired from his job from the BBC. Should Harry and Meghan keep up this strategy of choking the media with good content back to back? If the reality of the situation is that the journalists cannot do anything else but to speak negatively about Harry and Meghan because their bosses will not allow them to do otherwise, then what can Harry and Meghan do? What's the solution to resolve the stalemate? Anyway, let me know in the comments because this right here is a conversation. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you're always ready for the next cup of tea. Until next time, it's your girl Weezy signing out.